You don't need magic to disappear for a while, because Firestone tires were built for ticking off mile markers. Firestone Destination LE3 tires for 70,000 miles of exploring. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.
Beth Barron's approach to business is analytical and people-focused. Growing up, she watched her father, Charley Gowland, and his business partner, Billy Parker, open the first Chabill's Tire and Auto Service Center in Morgan City, Louisiana. When she graduated from college, she went on to work for her dad, but it wasn't supposed to be long-term. Fast forward some 30 years later, Beth is now CEO of the business since 2018. Today, the business has grown and continues to grow and adapt to the complexity of the modern tire industry. Welcome to Johnny G and Friends. I'm Johnny G, and on today's podcast, we're joined by Beth Barron, President and CEO of Chabill's Tire and Auto Service in Louisiana. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Johnny G. It's great to be here.
You know, Beth, we first met 7 years ago in Minot, North Dakota at a 20 group meeting, and you and Carrie were having dinner. I sat down with you, and would you have ever thought 7 years later that we'd be doing a podcast together?
No, definitely did not see that happening. But, you know, stranger things have happened, Johnny G. I'll tell you that. So
I know, but it's a pleasure to have you on my podcast today. So you grew up watching your dad, Charley, build a business. Tell me something about your dad that still sticks in your mind today, and what did you learn from him?
There's so many things. I mean, I think back to when I was a little girl and, what my experiences were, because that was in the beginning, right? When he first started building the business. And, the things as a little girl I remember is that he was always at work. Like he worked all the time, so passionate about growing the business, so passionate about what he was doing. And, it was in those infant stages of a business where, you're putting in a lot of hours. And so I do remember as a girl that, dad was always like running in at the last minute for dinner or running in at the last minute for whatever activities we were doing. So I remember that from being a little girl and being around the business. I've been around this business, climbing in the tires since I was very little. And so it's been part of my life forever. But, as far as what he taught me, there's just so many things. There's so many things, little things that I didn't even realize until he was gone that I had picked up from him. But he, I take his passion, the passion that he had for the business. I share that passion, obviously.
Yep.
But he was a numbers guy. And, I think a lot of times when, you talk to other tire dealers, a lot of times what's happening is that people are coming through the shop, right? They start to work on cars, or they have a love of cars, or my dad didn't have any of that. He was an accountant. He was not a tire guy. He was not a car guy. He wasn't any of those things. He just saw a business opportunity and decided to take it, and found a partner who did know about cars, thank goodness, and started the business. So he always had a head for the numbers, and that is the piece of the business that he's taught me inside and out, that I carry with me every single day. So.
Oh, that's a great memory. Great memory. So you and Carrie, I guess, started dating in college, and it was really Carrie that brought you back to Morgan City. Is that right?
Yeah. I hate to give him all this credit, but, he and I went to school about 3 hours from our hometown. Carrie and I actually grew up together, but we didn't start dating until we were both in college. And he went to LSU, which is closer to, where we live in Baton Rouge, just north of here. And I actually went to school further north in North Louisiana. And, through the years, we just kind of reconnected and we started seeing each other. And when I graduated from college, we were together, and he had come home to work for his dad's business. So I said, my boyfriend's there. I guess that's where I need to go. And because I never really planned to come back to Morgan City. That was not in my plan when I went off to college. So he drugged me back to Morgan City, and here I am today. So
are you happy about all that?
I am. I love our little hometown. It's a little place, but we love it. And we've raised 3 wonderful children here. And I wouldn't change a thing, not by a long shot. So
That's great. That's great. So you took the reins as CEO in 2018. Then your dad passed in 2019, and then COVID hit. I mean, that's a lot of changes in a short period of time. Beth, how did you deal with all of that?
Well, I can tell you it was baptism by fire. That's what I tell everybody. It was a crazy time. And, it was really a touch and go there, of what to do and what decisions to make. We had never been through anything no one had been through anything like that.
Right.
So, it was kind of by the seat of my pants, and, it's the supply shortages and, just people having to stay home. It was kind of crazy. And, but I think in a way it was good because I was faced with a challenge that we had never faced before. So, I didn't have anything to draw on. It was good. I could kind of make my own decisions and kind of navigate my way through it. And I think we did, that. And I think we were very successful. I have a great management team. I have wonderful people who work for me, very committed. And, it was a rough time, but it was also, I think it made us stronger in the long run.
Well, you're a strong leader for keeping the team together and keeping everybody focused because it was a tough time out there. Let me tell you, talked to a lot of tire dealers about that. So compared to your father, Charley, what are some of the things that you're doing differently in the business today?
Well, so I talked about my dad being a numbers guy, and he was a numbers guy, and I believe in the numbers too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are a lot of numbers that every day I'm looking at all the time to see where we are and where we stand with things. But I take a little bit more of a people approach than my dad did, whether it's an employee approach or a customer approach. I think I'm much more focused on that area and trying to make sure that everything's going well with our employees and focus on benefits and try to improve those things for our employees. A huge thing is I closed on Saturdays, which was my dad would have never done that ever. He would have never closed on Saturdays. But in December of 2020, I made that decision, and it was really employee based because, we felt like we needed to have some kind of differentiator in this business for people to want to come to work for us. And we think we're a great company, but most places are open on the weekends, and we can tell the people that come to work for us that, you don't have to ever worry about that. We're not open on Saturday or Sunday. So.
Last season I did Aaron Telly Tire in Missouri, and he told me the same thing. And I was like shocked because I'm old school, right? Like your dad.
Yeah.
And I know we all work Saturdays, but he told me and still tells me today the value that they got out of there, and he doesn't miss a beat, and sales are strong. The mental attitude and what it does to the employees is you can't buy that stuff. So congratulations on making that tough decision. Let me tell you.
But it was, look, I agree with everything he said because we haven't missed a beat. That's what I told our managers. We were closing on Saturday. I said, look, so whatever business you're doing on Saturday, you got to get that done during the week. You got to find a way to get that done. And they've risen to the challenge. And it's, I don't think we've missed a beat at all.
If I'm working at a store for you on a Friday and it's 3:00 in the afternoon, I know we got to I'll do that little extra, whatever it takes, even if I got to work till 7:00 or 8:00, because I got Saturday and Sunday off. Yeah, that's a bonus.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So, Beth, the business has always been a family affair. Your husband, Carrie, your sister, Catherine, your children, Amanda, Patrick, and Charley, are all actively working in the company. So tell me, when you get together at a family function, do you talk business?
Unfortunately, I have to say yes.
Yeah.
I try not to that much because it's hard. You want to have but it's such a huge part of all of our lives, of what we do. So there is a lot of talk. I mean, even my daughter's husband works in the business. So, there's just so many of us that this is what we do. But Charley's wife, Chelsea, she's the one you can see her starting to roll her eyes when she's had enough Chabill's talk. And I love her because she'll get me back right on. She'll be like, okay, let's talk about babies or vacations or something else. Let's not talk about Chabill's for a while.
That just brought back a memory because same thing. We had a lot of tire people in my family, and Kimberly would sit there and roll her eyes, and she would give me the kick underneath the table. Okay, let's move on. We're not at Bridgestone Firestone today,
Yes. Yes.
Know it well.
You need to do it. There needs to be a separation.
Exactly. So what improvements to the business are you currently working on? I know your son, Charlie, who we're going to talk to here in a few minutes, has really dug into the analytics, but you're also focusing on training programs in your fleet business. Is that right?
Yeah. So we're trying to find some initiatives, some new verticals to be able to move into. And we've always kind of had a presence in fleet, but we're trying to grow that a little bit this year. I have an outside sales guy and my vice president of commercial sales that are working to try to move into some more of that work. So that's a big thing for us this year. Also training, we've kind of struggled with that over the years, and we're growing now to the point that we really have to be better at it. And we're looking at some outside sources to be able to come in and do some training for us. We're working on some career path type stuff for people to come to work for us. So there's just there's a lot of area for us to improve there, and we're really trying to make it a focus. We've also recently been talking about bringing on a recruiter because it's really very difficult to find people. And it almost is a full-time job to go out there and try to, touch base with high schools or trade schools or colleges or whatever to try to always be a presence in the community, trying to pull people into work. So we've just recently started about possibly bringing on a recruiter to make that a full-time job. So again, very focused on our employees, trying to get fully staffed. So that's really what all these programs are about when it comes to training and recruiting and all those things.
They're so important, and one of the ideas I got just recently talking to Mark Pons at Chapel Hill Tire is, I said, Mark, how did you get out to all the stores? Well, it's tough, he said, but I implemented a new program. Once a week, I go to one store and I take 2 or 3 people to lunch. Wow. And that way I can get some of the ideas, what they see in improvements, and share my vision with the company and whatever. So I'm sure with 19 stores, is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of stores and a lot of communication. So maybe you and Carrie can go out once a week and take somebody to lunch.
Yes, definitely. I do try to stay in touch. This weekend, actually, we have a manager's workshop. We bring our managers in for workshops about 3 times a year on Saturdays. That was one of the agreements I made with them when I gave them Saturdays off, that there would be a couple of Saturdays here and there they'd have to come in. So I do get to touch base with them in those workshops. But it's very difficult to get out into the stores. I do Teams meetings and go over financials with the managers at least every other month, but it's a lot. It's hard. It's hard to get out there with everything going on. And I know I need to do better at that.
Well, but that's great that you reserved those Saturdays and said, hey, we got to do some training and this is the day it is. So works out well for everybody. So Beth, I'm going to take a few minutes and talk to Charlie, and I'll be back shortly to finish up the podcast with you. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you. Charlie, are you there?
I am here. How are you, Mr. Johnny?
Good. Welcome to Johnny G and Friends, my buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
So let me see if I got this right. You're the 3rd generation. You're 26 years old. You're married to your high school sweetheart, Chelsea. You have a new baby girl, Eleanor. Your official title is technical director, but you're a utility player filling in wherever they need you. Like if a store manager goes on vacation, you'll fill in for him. Is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, if you had to say it in not so many words, I guess that's what you'd say my job title is. It's a mouthful. I would call myself the utility player. The easiest way to say it is I just do what they tell me to do. If my mom tells me I've got to do this, then I'm doing that. If my dad tells me to do something, I'm doing that. So it's just, it's family business. You do what you got to do to make it happen.
So tell me about the analytics that you're working on in the tire company. And I know, the movie Moneyball and how that affected the whole industry of baseball. So tell me how you're doing that in the tire world.
Sure. So, I had the privilege of getting a master's degree in analytics at LSU. I'm a numbers-driven guy, very similar to my grandfather. And whenever I came back to work for my mom in February of 21, that was one of the major things that she wanted to do. We signed on with this company that does an integration that provides us, the best of the best analytics and reporting that we can expect in this industry. And before I came back, we were doing things the old-fashioned way. We were printing reports out of our point of sale, typing a bunch of numbers into Excel spreadsheets, and just a ton of man hours to try to create reports that can be done a lot easier. So I took all that reporting, and for about a month and a half when I came back, that's all I did. I made all of our reporting instantaneous to where every night everything we want to see is right there ready for us. And then I do a little bit more than that. If we have anything that we want to look at specifically, we have visibility that we've never had before. And technology has done that for us. And like I said, I'm thankful that it's something that I'm good at. I think my mom and I communicate a lot. We see the business in a very similar light. So when she tells me something she wants to see from a reporting or an analytics perspective, I can provide that to her. And I think it's been really great. I think it's amplified our business. It's given our managers visibility. It's given us visibility at a top level of things that we really never had the privilege of looking at as well as we do now.
So can you look at the various brands of tires you sell, the various sizes, see which ones are moving, which ones are, and then be able to give that to the person that does all your tire ordering or communicate with the manufacturers directly then?
Yeah, absolutely. So believe it or not, that's something my mom has done for a very long time. And she's not going to give herself too many props, but I will say that she does that masterfully. She looks at reorder levels. She looks at what our sellout is. She looks at what we're moving, what she wants to move. And she used to spend, if she worked for 50 hours a week, she was spending 35 hours a week looking at that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And now she can do that same thing in maybe 25% of the amount of time, which she used to do. So absolutely. We look at all those kind of things. I mean, that's tires make our business go round. So, that's one of the focal points that we're looking at. And it's, mom looks at it every single day. I'm looking at it every single day. We're trying to make moves to sell more tires, to sell more units, because that's, what makes our business successful.
Well, congratulations. Nice job on that. So you're also, Charley, an ideas guy, coming up with new approaches, maybe for employees and stuff. Can you talk about anything you're working on with ideas?
Sure. I think you're giving me a little bit more credit. I would consider myself the guy to make it happen, not necessarily the guy to get the idea, but the guy to make it happen.
Okay.
So, we do 20 groups and we have a lot of friends in the industry that we bounce a lot of ideas off of, whether it's me or mom or dad or, our vice president of retail. And when we come up with these great ideas, it becomes my job to make those ideas a reality. So we recently implemented a employee appreciation platform where we have a company-wide, almost like a Facebook, Twitter feed kind of style, like a social media, where managers can give shout outs to the people that work for them, and I can give shout outs to managers, and you can see somebody that works at a store in our Lafayette market can see visibility of appreciation that's happening at one of our stores down the bayou or in our Baton Rouge market. So I feel like it's a big team building thing that we've implemented. And I think that it's building a culture and it's bringing people in that we really want to be invested in this family, in this business. And that's just one of them. That's probably our biggest project as of late. Of course, the reporting is my number one project that never ends. And then after that, we're doing mom, you and mom touched on the training that we're trying to do. And I'm tasked with trying to create a training regimen for sales, a career path for our technicians to try to go from a guy that just changes oil and changes tires to be able to guy that makes, $65,000 a year, turning wrenches. So that's something that we're trying to make happen now. I'm in the process of trying to get with some people and build some connections to make that happen in the industry.
Wow. Congratulations. I'm very proud of what you're doing there. I really am.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm sure you talk about being proud. I'm sure you're very proud of your grandfather. Can you share any fond memories of him?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I think it's a privilege that I don't have a lot of business related memories of my grandfather, because I feel like that would have kind of tarnished the way that our relationship was. Most of my memories of him are personal memories, and I'll cherish those till the day I die. But one thing that sticks in my head, and it's kind of funny. Like you said, I have a daughter now. She's 8 months old, and my parents, they spare no expense to get her everything that she wants or could want, right? So they bought her a stuffed gorilla, a pink and purple stuffed gorilla for her. She's 8 months old. She has no idea what that is. But it brought back a memory in me because we used to call my grandfather Pawpaw Gorilla. And it's something that kind of lay dormant in my mind. I knew it was there. And every time I would come to the office, you'd walk in his office, you'd walk up the stairs, and all over his office were gorillas. They were everywhere of all shapes and sizes. They had ones that sang. They had ones that would wrap around you. They had backpacks. They had stuffed animals, all kind of stuff like that. So I always remember me, my brother, my sister, my cousins, we would come in his office and we'd each, take a gorilla. And when he was around us, he wasn't a business person. To my mom, he was a business person, but to me, he was just a grandpa. And he took on that persona of the gorilla, and it was amazing. And I'm really glad that it kind of came back to me just a few days ago, because it was something that I had kind of forgotten for a little bit. But that's my fondest memory, and kind of just hit close to home very recently. So I'm very thankful for that.
Well, thanks for sharing that story, Charlie. And I really enjoyed this podcast here with you. And I'm going to wrap it up now. So I'm going to go back to your mom. But when I get down to Louisiana, let's go out and hit the town together. All right?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that. Thank you for having me, Mr. Johnny.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much. Beth, are you there?
I am here.
You must be your buttons must be popping right now. That's a pretty sharp young man there you got.
Yes, I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of all my children, but Charlie he's come in and he's been a difference maker for us. He's definitely added some things and taken so many things off of my plate, which has been amazing. That's been awesome. But yeah, he's telling that story about the gorilla. It kind of hit me a little bit. So yeah, it's some great memories.
I love it. So Beth, Chabill's just opened its 19th location. I know that was challenging for you in these challenging times we have. Yeah. So congrats on that, number one.
Thank you.
Tell us if you have any future growth plans for the.
So yeah, we're always looking to grow. I mean, it's definitely that, I guess what I task myself the most with is trying to find opportunities for new locations. It's getting a little more difficult here lately just because, the interest rates are going up, construction expense just keeps going up. So we're looking for, whatever opportunities we can find, remodels, people who are looking to get out of the business and don't want to be in the tire business anymore. So we're always open-minded. I don't think we're going to stray too far out of Louisiana, but there's still plenty of places for us to hit in Louisiana. We're also really focused on growing the locations we have in volume, doing more volume in the locations that we have. And that's one of the things why we talked about earlier with the recruiter, trying to get more people into the stores we have already to grow that volume in the stores we have already. So both of those initiatives are really what we're working on.
Well, congratulations. 19 stores is a lot of stores, and I'm very proud of you. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
So, Beth, we're going to try something new in season 3 of Johnny G and Friends. It's called Rapid Fire Questions, okay? Goodness. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you just tell me the first thing that pops up on your mind, okay?
Oh, goodness. Okay, this should be fun.
Your favorite Cajun or Creole dish?
Favorite Cajun or Creole dish? I'm going to have to go with my mom's turkey and sausage gumbo.
Beautiful.
Only my mom's, though. Only my mom's. Yes.
All right. Best Mardi Gras parade you've ever been to?
Well, I belong to a Mardi Gras crew, so it's got to be mine. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes. My parade is the best parade. So we have a ladies crew in Morgan City that I belong to. And so I love to be in the parade. So that makes it my favorite. Beautiful. Beautiful. I know it gets pretty warm because it gets warm in Nashville too. Hottest day you've ever lived through? Temperature. I don't know. The hottest day I've ever lived through was in Arizona when it was like 120 degrees when I was there for a conference in September. I remember that like it was hot. But down here, I think we're used to the heat. So I never really think about it. But no, that Arizona day, that was hot. People like, oh, it doesn't feel hot. Oh, yes, it's hot. It's hot. Yeah, that's why I spent half the year in Nashville, Tennessee. So what time of day are you most productive? Definitely the afternoon. Definitely. Okay. I am not a morning person. Afternoon. I'm an afternoon girl. All right. Great. Best advice you've ever received from anyone? If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yep.
That's a big one.
That's
Dad used to always say that if you're not growing, you're dying. So
that's a number one with me. Favorite vacation spot? If you and Carrie could get away tomorrow, where would you go?
He has a different answer than me. I I love the beach. I love any beach anywhere. We're lucky to live in South Louisiana, be close to that panhandle of Florida, and they have some of the most beautiful beaches. But if you were asking Carrie, he'd say Disney World. We go to Disney World all of the time. Actually, I'm going again next Friday. So we love Disney World too, but for me, it's the beach.
All right. Beer, wine, or alcohol?
Can I say all of the above? No.
I love that answer.
Any of my friends that are watching this podcast would know if I don't say all of the above that I'm a liar. But my favorite thing to drink is a dirty martini.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty there. Okay. Last one. Favorite restaurant in New Orleans?
Oh, there's so many good ones, but GW Finn's is my favorite restaurant.
Been there. I agree with you.
Very good.
Well, Beth, I really want to thank you and Charley for taking time out of your hectic day to spend a little time on Johnny G and Friends. I'm going to make sure I get down to your neck of the woods sometime in the near future so we can break some bread together. But if you ever come into Nashville, I'm there 6 months of the year. So let's hook up there also. Okay.
It sounds great. It's been fun. Thanks so much for having me, Johnny G. I appreciate it.
All right. You have a great day, Beth. Bye-bye.
Too.
You don't need magic to disappear for a while, because Firestone tires were built for ticking off mile markers. Firestone Destination LE3 tires. For 70,000 miles of exploring. Whatever you drive, drive a Firestone.